Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where and what time you're watching this video from. My name is Denise Belisle, and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. Welcome to the It's All Good show. Lucas here for a chat. Today I have, oh, wrong thing. Today I have Bonnie Chomica. She's the content creator mentor. And we're going to talk about everybody is a writer. I used to say, "Oh, I can't write, I can't write." And now I'm noticing that I can change that a little bit. But we'll talk about in life or business, writing is an essential tool to convey your message, emotion, and leadership. So we'll explore a little bit about that as we move forward with Bonnie. But before we start, let's talk about why am I doing this show. It's called It's All Good because first of all, it's my favorite cup. It's all good. And I like to say that. I noticed as I had the cup, but as I live my life, I realize that I say that all the time. Because regardless of what happened in the past, whether it's 5 seconds ago or 5 years ago or 20 years ago, I cannot change it. Trust me, I've tried. I've tried several times to change it and I can't change it. So, what can I say about that? It's all good. And when you live more in the present, when you live in the moment, you appreciate everything that you have right now. So when I say it's all good, it brings me back to right now because I can't change the past and I can't even predict the future or do anything about the future because it's not here. Also, people have tried to use crystal balls and finding out how things going to run out exactly in the future, but shit happen and you don't know how things going to turn out in the future. I have an example. One of my clients, he was traveling overseas and then he was planning by today we do that at that hour, this and that. And when he came back, we talked about his trip and his experience, and he was saying if anything could go more wrong than it did, I couldn't believe it. Like everything that he planned didn't work out because life happened, and that's just the way it is. So what do you say? It's all good. So that's why I call this show It's All Good. And when I say look who's here for a chat, because I like to bring people that I enjoy, people that I had chat with that I found that are interesting, that can bring you great value so that you can expand your horizon and get to understand different avenues. So today we'll talk about becoming a writer, and you are a writer with Bonnie. So without any further delay, just bring her in. Bonnie, please welcome to the show.
Hi, Denise. Oh, it's so fun to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And before we go any further, if you're watching this either on Facebook or LinkedIn and later on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. And if you're on the other platform, go to YouTube at denisebelil.com and then you can see more amazing videos from all the people I've interviewed for the last, although today I think it's episode 67, for the last 67 weeks. So I invite you to go check all the other videos and please like, comment, and put any information you like. I always get a notice when you put a comment. So Bonnie, welcome, and please tell me a little bit about you and about our topic today, which was everybody is a writer, right?
Yeah. First of all, congrats on like 67 episodes. That's a real commitment and accomplishment. So good
Every
for you.
Monday.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So yeah, my name's Bonnie Chomica. I live on Vancouver Island off the west coast of Canada. And as Denise mentioned, I call myself the content creation mentor. And I coach solopreneur, mostly solopreneur clients on how to get more visibility and how to build their authority by creating content, but by creating it consistently and
Mm,
not just sporadically here and there. You're a poster child for being consistent. So so good for you.
thank you. So when people are like today, as everybody's a writer. So how do you like? Some people say I can't write, and for me, my blockage was I'm originally French, so writing in English initially was a bit complicated. And then writing in French, French language is the grammar and this and that. I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I can't even write in French anymore. So my idea initially was like, I can't even write in French because I can share information. I know what to say, but to write it properly and grammar and everything. And in English, I was thinking, oh my God, second language, it's all awful the way I write it. So how can you say, convincingly that everybody is a writer? So what came for you to write that?
Well, I think, if you think of the world we live in, it's a content-driven world. I mean,
Mhm.
certainly there's video and audio, but for the most part, it's the written word, whether that's websites or ebooks or that online, whether you're looking on your phone, you're reading some kind of text. And when you're in business, lots of people start their business. They've got a service or a product they want to sell, but somehow they have to market and sell that service or product, and
Mhm.
that's going
Mhm.
to involve writing.
Yeah.
And so people, you just said you didn't think of yourself as a writer, or you struggled with writing. um, and it doesn't have to be, like an author of a book writing. It's what you do every day for
Mhm.
your business, particularly, whether you're writing emails to a client. You have to be, purposeful. You have to be clear. You have to think about what that person who's reading it is, how they're receiving it. Is it understandable? Are you making it confusing, or is it easy for them, to take the next step or to respond?
Mhm.
I mean, think of all the things in your business that require your website, number one, right?
Every
Everything revolves around your website. That's your online hub. So that writing, whether and most solopreneurs write it themselves. And if someone's building a new website, the web designer is going to come to you for the content.
Yeah,
So
no, I can give you a nice template. Okay, what do you want me to write in it?
exactly,
Mm,
because
I
they don't
thought I was getting you to do my website. You would write everything for me. Like they're not an expert in your field, right?
No, they're not. No, they're not. And that's where just about every website project stalls, because they're waiting for the content from you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you need to you need to be, and this is probably the biggest part of your marketing writing is your website. So you need to be crystal clear about what it is you're representing, your values, how people experience you, and certainly the services and products that you provide, and how people get a hold of you. Right? There's a lot of steps. So there's logic behind it. Again, you need to be, simple. It can't be confusing for people, because you want them to take a next step. And then I mentioned email. So you might be doing a one-on-one email to a client, but what about having a newsletter, or,
Mm-hmm.
someone signing up for a free gift on your site or something? Then that free gift will entail some kind of writing, right? And the emails that follow up are all written.
Okay, so I have a question for you because I'm still having blockage towards, I know when I give a free gift, and the idea behind it is that then you have a follow-up sequence to that free gift, right? Someone download template ABC, and then you email them right away. Thank you for downloading the template ABC, and click here to download the gift. So that's email number one. Then there's a sequence. Day two, it's like, hey, how did you enjoy template ABC? Da 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 da. If you want to know more, click here. We can have a chat. Day five, send something else. Day seven, send something else. So, but for me, I found that when I get to, let's say, create a new gift for my people and all that, what I found is that I find that overwhelming. to think about, okay, am I going to say in that email sequence? So how would you suggest that someone goes about to not feel so stressed out to the point that not even creating the gift, because you have to create the whole thing behind it? So what's your big suggestion for that? And that'll help me too at the same time.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, the big thing, I do this with my coaching clients because that's a typical feeling. You don't know where to start. You you often don't know why you're doing certain steps, so
Hmm.
they get missed, or it's a block. You don't move ahead. So the whole idea behind a lead magnet and the emails is to plan it, right? What is that? First of all, what's that lead magnet? So why are you creating that? How is that going to help your audience? So that's
Hmm.
that's the number one objective. Why are you creating this? What's the benefit to the person, right? You're always thinking about benefits. And then the email sequence that follows, you started off exactly right. Did you receive this, right? And this is
Hmm.
confirmation. So now we're making a connection, right? And that's a purpose for that particular email. I want to
Yeah.
make sure you got this. It's a handshake, and it's the beginning of the rest of the emails. It's the beginning of that nurturing relationship you're trying to build with that new person that's on your
Hmm.
list. And each of those emails has somewhat of a specific purpose. And they can be, 3 email sequence or 5 or 10. I had someone I signed up for, they had a year-long nurture series. I'm like, okay,
That's
that's ambitious.
amazing. That's amazing.
And of course, they would have had a team behind that whole nurture series. So back to your
That's
point,
my team. They're not very useful. My team behind me. They keep me in harmony, but that's it. Guys,
yeah,
you gotta start writing.
that's good. So yeah, so it's about planning, intention. What do you want the results to be? And that's how you create something very specific like that.
Mhm.
And then you could look at that too. The same with social media. People, it's like, oh yeah, I put stuff on Facebook or I do stuff on Instagram. That's writing. That's all writing. That's all content.
I know.
It's all communication. It's representing you and your brand, but it's also trying to reach out to other people. So that to be more effective and efficient, you need to plan things. So
Mm.
if I don't like so many people, it's just like, oh, it's Monday. What am I going to post on Facebook? Right? Like if instead they should have their whole week planned out of what's going to be on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever platform that is. And there should be intention and purpose behind each post. That intention could be, I just want to entertain people here today. I just want to it's Motivation Monday. I'm going to put up a motivation quote. So it, what you put up is one thing and the intention, but then when you write it, it has to be clear. It has to be easily consumable. So people sometimes try to be too clever, um, or they're speaking in jargon language that's difficult. It's like, if I'm on my phone and I'm scrolling by things, if I don't get it right away, then I'm going to keep on scrolling. So it has to be simple enough.
So, talking about that, simple enough in scrolling, what do you feel about, like, sometimes, especially LinkedIn? I found LinkedIn does that a lot. Like, you would open the read more, and then
Right.
all of a sudden it's like it's like a 5 page essay that's there. So when I see that, I was like, I'm not writing a 5 page essay, and I'm not reading a 5 page essay for a LinkedIn post. So talking about, like, overwhelm, or writing, or what to post, like, what's your opinion about the length of what we post on social media?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's with any marketing, what you're putting out there is a test. You have to test those types of things. So people are using that long term or that long style post almost like a blog post. Instead of putting
Yeah.
a blog post on your website and then telling people on LinkedIn that you've got a blog post and sending you to your website, they're putting that information in LinkedIn. And so that's keeping you with their profile longer. It's also giving LinkedIn the message that someone is looking at your post for a long time. So they're going to give you more um, points to be shown up in
Mhm.
people's news feeds. Right, it shows that you have some authority. You've got some valuable information that people are reading.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, but it depends. And if it's a sort of random post, it's like, okay, I'm not really interested, and I keep going. But if it's something that's piquing my interest on that day, it's hitting a pain point or something I think I need to know about, then I'm going to read it.
Mm.
And I guess also from a marketer's perspective, I'm also looking at what other people are doing, right? So, okay, she's written this really long thing. Like, what's that all about? So I kind of decipher what those people are doing as well.
Hmm. And looking at the interaction that that person has with the people. If a lot of people say like, comment, stars, whatever, art, applause, whatever that is, right? Support, love, in
Yes,
LinkedIn, and then she has like 500, 600 comments. Like, okay, well, if
that
people have
works.
been reading it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and but it
Yes.
all depends on the actual writing, like
The
the
actual content of it.
yeah, yeah. So that makes a big difference because if you could, and I guess you need to have a hook right as you start. So because that little thing before read more, you
Right,
really
there's
have to have
more
a
about-
good hook.
That's right.
And a hook is related to fishing, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to catch my fish. So it's like
Real
hooking
fit.
people into wanting to read more about your post.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting.
But the writing, going back to the being a writer piece, that it's I'm I'm a professional writer, and it took me almost 30 years to accept that moniker. It's like I'm in marketing communications, and yes, I write, but I thought of myself as a marketer, not as a writer. Till people started introducing me as a writer, I'm like, okay, I think I better wear this, right? So this conversation, don't think of it as you need to be a writer, as that's your profession. You need to be a writer in your business,
Hmm.
because everything you put out represents you. Like even a text message. How many text messages have you received that you looked at it and you went, either what did they mean, or did they just piss me off, right? Because they didn't write it, or they didn't think of how it would be received on the other end, because you can't see body language, you can't, the whole a one word answer could throw a whole relationship off.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Or they didn't check auto-correct and you end up with stuff that really doesn't make sense.
yeah, oh, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So a big part of writing, and I used to be a huge cheerleader and promoter of this, and I should resurrect it, is about proofreading, even in a text, right? You need to proofread everything you have. Take that extra 30 seconds, extra minute, right? I've seen people lose money, or waste money, say on brochures, right? Not having someone proofread their brochure,
Oh
and they
yeah,
get
for sure.
5,000 printed, and there's a mistake when it comes back. It's like, oh, I can't use these. Or, your website, or an event promotion. It looks unprofessional. I mean, we all make mistakes. Don't get me wrong, but if it's full of mistakes, then that's not gonna bode well for you.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
especially in a text message, just for that like autofill feature, think about like how bad you could look, and how it could affect a situation, or a relationship. So, uh, and we're busy. If you're texting someone, you're usually busy. So before you hit that send button, have a fresh look at what that is, and then send it instead of trying to correct it later,
Yeah,
which may
because
not.
I remember sending a text and then without checking in a note, and then you read it after you sent it a bit too late, and then you see an autocorrect and say, "Oh no, I meant to say," and then you write the word, but then it autocorrected to something else.
That's
And
right.
it's like, damn, autocorrect. No, I meant to say this. And then you really spell it out because now finally you end up with,
Oh yeah, it can be an endless cycle, and it digs the hole deeper and deeper of the
yeah.
error that you made,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Because if you don't pay attention, and that works with everything. Like I'm doing my best to when I write an email, and I'm a little bit of a stickler that way, like try to read it 2, 3 times. At some point, it's okay, gotta go and send it. But what do you think of these? Now I use that a little bit. I'm thinking to subscribe to it. Like they have it for free, which is Grammarly, and they have also like the professional version. And there's other software where you can input your text, and they give you different way of formulating it. They give you grammar error and stuff. So what do you think of those tools?
Grammarly is a terrific tool. Grammarly is great. I like it because it shows up on your online platforms, right? It
Yeah,
shows those errors. What I find sometimes is you need to make a decision based on your writing style,
yeah, of
because
course.
they may be more formal. If they pull up a grammar rule and it's like, you know what, I was ignoring that grammar rule, I want to write it this way. Like, for example, um, starting a sentence with the word and or but, right? You would have been kicked out of English class if you would have done that. That's like totally against the grammar we've learned in school.
Yeah.
um, but nowadays, it's okay to do that because it sounds more conversational. But
Hmm.
Grammarly might pick that up and say, no, you need to have, a small a, and you need a comma and whatever. It's like, no, I'm just going to ignore that. But that's rare. You know, I'm a busy person and I make lots of mistakes when I'm writing. And, for example, apostrophes. I know the difference between it's, it is it apostrophe s, like I know where it's supposed to be used, but from brain through my
Sometimes
fingers
it's reflex, right? You
keyboard,
just
it's
write it
like,
as a reflex.
so I'm very happy when those mistakes are highlighted. It's like, oh yeah, I need to fix that. So
Yeah, yeah. Because Grammarly knows that the its doesn't make sense if you want to say it is
in a
cold,
particular
because
sentence,
it's
yeah,
not. It's cold. No, it is cold.
it
It's
is.
apostrophe. Yeah.
That's right.
Unless
Yeah.
you say it's cold feet. No, that doesn't make. It's cold hand, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
So the tool is great, and there are other tools out there. There are other tools where you can plug in like a whole, paragraph, and it will tell you kind of the style you're writing. Is it casual? Is it corporate? Is it, too flowery, or too complicated? So there's all kinds of tools. Especially if writing is not your thing,
Hmm.
then I would recommend seeking out those kinds of tools.
I think it
Absolutely.
helps me personally as English as second language.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's
Yeah,
why I'm thinking of getting Grammarly the pay version, because then you really correct, at least it gives me options to correct the way I
that's
say
exactly
things.
what I
And then, but the free option is really good. It helps me at least correct, the majority of my grammar and, mistake. But
do.
then when it comes
It's
to
a great,
format
it's
and
a great
everything.
tool. I was surprised that it was free, and how powerful it is. So yeah, it's very good.
Hmm. Another tool that I use when as English second language is sometimes, as I said, French grammar is so intricate and complicated that
Yep,
I'm almost more comfortable writing in English now. Like I write in English because I speak English like, 90% of the time. So, and I'm part of the French Chamber of Commerce, and then I speak a lot of French, and sometimes I have to write emails in French,
sure.
and the conjugation and the way to I get all mixed up, and then I write it in English. I go to DeepL, which is DEPPL, which is a translation tools,
Oh, okay.
and then I write it in English, and it gives me the French version, and then I can change different words. Like it gives me different option of saying it. The default in French, we say tu or vous, right? It's like
Yeah.
tu would be very casual and vous is more formal or plural. And when I write casually, I don't want to say vous, I want to say tu. If I write you an email, I won't say vous, right? I will say tu. And then I can go tweak that and I can change different words if it doesn't sound the way I want. But I find that that tool also works really well. And it supports me into writing in French because I don't have to think about the conjugation. I don't have to think about it. Does it take EES or E accent aigu ES, or does it take, like all of that is just,
It's
I
complicated.
don't know. Is it EZ or ENT, or like there's so much different
So
things. And when you don't practice it very often, like for me, I don't write in French very often, so I often write in English. Now you all know my trick, those that receive my emails in French. I go to DeepL and then I do the translation, and that does a really, really good job.
you brought up a good point, Denise, about knowing your audience as well, right? If
Mm.
you're writing for French Chamber of Commerce, then that's likely going to be a more formal type of message than
Hmm.
a one-on-one email that might just go to one member.
Yeah.
So that's important too. The tone, I guess, and style of your email. That kind of goes with your whole business brand as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I came from the corporate world, and in that world, I spoke in a very kind of structured and serious um, uh, style. And then when I started my own business, it was like I wanted to loosen up and I wanted to have fun. It's like, okay, this
Yeah.
is casual. This is Bonnie you're talking to, right? Not the corporation.
Yeah.
So that affects your writing as well. Um, how you come across.
Hmm. Hmm. And so now we talked about, everybody's a writer and all that, but what would you say to someone that actually say, I don't like to write?
I
Like a business person. Of course, if you just have a job and all that, you don't have to write, or you're retired, don't write. But as a person that wants to grow their business and they say, just not, I can't do it. So what would you say to these people?
it's hard. I hear it a lot, um, and I think, and particularly around social media, and that's coming from a different space. People just don't want to be on there typically, but people that don't like to write, I guess I come at it more. Um, think of it more like a conversation that you're
Mm,
having. And if you're having a hard time, keyboard or pen to paper, writing out, a local business needs a brochure, for example. So if you're not sure, you don't like writing and you don't know where to start, often it's easier to say it out loud. So I'll take my phone. I just did a chapter in a compilation book, and instead of writing out 2,000 words, I spoke most of them into my phone, and it was a much more
mm.
it was natural. I could just like the thoughts were coming easier, and I certainly tweaked and rearranged some things
But
later,
then you
but
can go edit it.
that's right. Yeah. So that's typically what I tell people is think of it as a conversation. Try doing it in your phone or on your computer. There's, all kinds of ways you can do it. That audio to text, and just say what it is you're trying to say. And it's get it, if you're in business, you need to get your message across, or no one's going to know what you do or buy from you.
Hmm.
I've seen the same thing, not so much online, but in a local networking group, for example.
Yeah.
Everybody gets up to say their 30-second elevator speech of what they do and why it's important. And there's people there that don't want to do it or can't do it. And it's like, no one's going to know what you do or buy from you. Like, you have to get over that. And I understand that introduction, and I'm not taking this lightly, but that introduction also comes with a public speaking fear, I think.
Hmm. Hmm.
But still, um, no one's going to know. if you're in business, you've got to get over those fears. And writing is a big fear for lots of people.
Yeah.
And when they say they don't like writing, there's an underlying fear below that. I believe that. When I became a content coach, I wanted to help people with their message and give them feedback on their writing. And here's, the technical parts to move you through. And a lot of what came up is this mindset piece about fear. No one's going to read my stuff. I'm going to look stupid. It's like, you got to be confident in who you are. And then that's going to come out in what you deliver as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, these are great tips for sure. And I hope that, like the thing also, like if somebody really, really have in their mind that they can't do it. So I guess do you actually write for people? Do you consider yourself like a copywriter, like writing for the people? Like they give you a recording and then you can adjust it and make it like a nice text, or they give you their ideas. Like, are you doing that for people, or I know some people do, but I'm just questioning for you.
Well, it's funny you say that. That's what I used to do for people before I became a coach. So
Okay.
I was mostly doing content writing. So I was local businesses, right? Like wineries, restaurants, things like
Yeah.
that.
Do the
So
brochures and writing it up and
yeah, blog posts, brochures, e-newsletters, social media. And then I switched to a coaching model because people were looking for that service. But as I go through that as well, based on a lot of the challenges and fears and stuff that we've talked about, people get stuck or blocked, or things don't move forward because they're not doing the writing. Website number one. So I do some writing for certain clients, kind of depending on where they are. So I'll write a whole a whole website for people about pages, services, the whole shebang.
yeah.
Um, I do write email nurture series that we talked about earlier, and I haven't done brochures really, but it's more online marketing related, sales pages, landing pages. Um, I don't promote that a lot, um, but I fit it in for certain projects. So certainly for clients, if they're on a big trajectory and they're stalled because of something, it's like, okay, I'm going to write this for you, and then you do this in tandem, and then we'll get you moving forward faster.
So when you coach people, are you coaching them on what to put on their social media? And so tell us about the business and why would people reach out to you? Because now we're getting to the end that how do people reach you and why would they reach out to you? So
Sure.
what can you
Um,
do for people?
yeah. So the one-on-one coaching, it's really about helping people get that exposure and visibility they need, but also to build their credibility and authority. It's positioning them as the expert.
Mm-hmm.
And so we look at target audience. What are their pain points? From those, we can pull together topic ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what platforms or what media are you going to be comfortable on? Are you comfortable with writing? Do you prefer to be on video? What about a podcast, right? Are we sticking to social media? What about emails? So it's about creating that content foundation, um, but also building a process around it so that it's manageable and repeatable. It's similar to what you're doing on this platform. You've got
Mm-hmm.
you've got your processes, you've got your plan, you seek out people. So that's what I help with my clients as well. And a lot of it is feedback on what they're producing as well, coming from a writer's perspective, but also from a 30-year marketer.
Yeah.
Some people are really good at writing, but they don't know the marketing piece.
Yeah.
So we punch that up for them,
Well, that's
and
wonderful.
effective. Yeah.
So I have here how people can reach out to you. So that's how you can reach out to Bonnie, and then go on our website, which you'll see rolling. And if you watch that on replay, just pause and write it down, and it will be also in the comment of the call and also on the YouTube channel. But just reach out to Bonnie, and then I'm sure you have a consultation that people can talk with you and see if you guys are a fit and
Absolutely. Yeah, they book a prosperity session, and we sit down and go over like where are you in your marketing and content creation now. It's up to an hour, so
Oh, that's awesome.
we can solve some of your current situation, or evolve to see how I could support you more long term.
Oh, wonderful. And you have a gift for people?
I do. We're talking about
Oh,
writing today. So I have an ebook that's called Nine Client Attracting Writing Tips. And it's not technical, it's not grammar, it's very, very simple. All things you can use in your everyday writing for everything. It's a simple read, lots of examples, and I believe that you can grab it on my website. But I believe Denise is going to put it in the show notes
yeah.
as
And
well.
I'll put it in the show note, and it's rolling in the screen right now, but you'll see that it will come out in the show note or in the comment in wherever you're watching this on social media. So thank you so much, Bonnie. It was such a pleasure to have you. And for me, it's always a little challenge. There's always that having the full confidence that you can write the perfect blog or essay or post, and it's just, I think the main thing is just to do it, right, and get better at it. The more you see your feedback and just do it,
And
and
improve on what you're doing.
yeah, and but proofreading and like use Grammarly, it will help a lot just to tweak different things, and then it'll bring up your confidence, because then you feel that at least it's like somebody is like editing your post, right, in some ways.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. All those
Mhm.
tools help test, um, and just keep trying. Right.
And if you want to know if long posts or short posts are better, well, do a long post and do a short post and see how people are reacting.
That's right. That's right. And you could do that about the same topic, because that's a good way to test. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put the same heading, and then in the click more you have 2, 3 lines, or you have 20 lines, and then you'll know which one catching more
Works
information.
better. Yeah.
Well, that's fabulous. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It was a
Oh, it was
pleasure to
fun.
have you.
Thank you, Denise. That was great fun. Thanks again.
And don't forget, people, to like and subscribe on my YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube. And it's youtube.com/at Denise Belisle. Don't forget the at. And that's how you can like, subscribe, click the little bell so that you're being notified whenever I have more video coming on. As I mentioned, I think today was week 67 of my live on Monday, and it keeps adding up. I have people booked up all until January so far, and there's always room for more. So I'm going to be back with you, Bonnie. So thank you for being here. It was such a pleasure to interview Bonnie today. And for me, it's knowledge. Like, I took note. I don't know if you saw, but I took note as she was talking, because I feel that there's so much that can be done if, first of all, if English is not your first language, or if you're writing in where is not your first language. And just to be confident, build that confidence, use the tools that you have available now. There's so many tools. If you don't want to write it, use like there's another tool is, let me see, try to think of it, Otter, Otter, and it's a great tool that you can talk and transcribe it. And there's lots of tools out there. So if you don't want to write it, talk it, and then you can tweak it and use the other tool to fix up the grammar and mistakes and stuff, and you're on your way. So you are a writer. Everybody is a writer. So on that note, I will let you go, and thank you so much for listening. And until next time, be kind to one another. Goodbye.